Welcome to the Reaction Radar. If trespassing into a federal facility, putting your hands on a law enforcement officer, and playing the victim isn't political, I don't know what is. Without any further ado, let's jump right into this.
And joining me now for her first interview since her indictment is Democratic Congresswoman Lamonica McIvor of New Jersey. She, of course, serves on the House Homeland Security and Small Business Committees. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Casey.
So I just want to start do you still plan to plead not guilty to these federal charges?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to pleading not guilty. Look forward to my day in court. And so, I'm not guilty and really looking forward to entering that plea.
So I want to take our audiences back to what happened that day when you, two of your colleagues, and of course the mayor had gone to this detention facility. And I want to put up, this is video, and I want to make sure our audiences know, this is video that was provided by the Department of Homeland Security. No doubt other angles are being pursued. But we're going to put it up on the screen here. Hopefully everyone will also be able to see the two of us as well. But I was hoping that you could describe from your perspective what happened here. What was going through your mind? How would you characterize the actions that you are taking, considering what people see?
Well, first of all, we were there for an oversight visit along with my colleagues. This is something we've done in the past in New Jersey, just miles away from another detention center that we visited before. And the situation was escalated because of Department of Homeland Security and ICE.
Lies. Sorry, gonna have to call it out right there and then. I encourage you to look back at the video. I have it in my playlist. By all means, revisit it. Homeland Security did not escalate this. She was the one that escalated. She started yelling, using boisterous voice, cursing, and carrying on. Kind of unbecoming a congresswoman. So please, stop with the lies. Let's get to the points.
The whole tension of this situation, the whole, people are calling it different things, rather a scuffle or, commotion that was happening, that was caused by ICE and Homeland Security. At the time, it was very confusing about what was happening. It was a very scary.
How was it confusing, ma'am? You and the other Congress people put yourself and created a barrier around the mayor when ICE said they were going to go after him. Whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, you were now hindering a lawful order of a police officer. But it was their fault.
Every time for us, because we were trying to figure out kind of what was happening. But at the end of the day, we were there to just do an over.
Were you trying to figure out what was happening? They came out and said he was under arrest. You guys barricaded yourself and said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not taking him. Well, more you than the other two.
Oversight visit, which is our jobs. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And so to have that play out was something that we definitely did not expect to happen.
Right. And again, I do want to point out, you're the one in the red blazer in this video for people who may be having trouble discerning what's happening. You said it felt like a scary situation. Would you say that this video shows you trying to defend yourself? How would you characterize what's going on?
I mean, there was a ton of different things happening. I mean, from trying to, number one, get in to do our jobs, right? We were there to do an oversight visit. We had already been there for over an hour waiting before this whole, scenario played out. But at the end of the day, that was the number one thing that we were trying to do, was do our jobs. And the situation, once again, that occurred was.
So because you're Congress and something is not going your time, it took them over an hour for you to go in there. You're going to just act up. So in that retrospect, if you were to go to a restaurant and you had to wait, the people tell you, hey, it's going to take 25 minutes. I guess you just go storm, kick, break things down because you're Congress and you demand, and it's understood that you're supposed to just walk through the door, be seated on red carpet and everything. What's your theory, right?
All because of Homeland Security and ICE. They created this commotion where they went to, unlawfully arrest the mayor of the largest city of New Jersey.
Once again, how was it unlawful? He was trespassing on a federal property. How is that unlawful? This is exactly why congressional people should be banned, kicked out and banned. Listen to the verbiage you're using. Look at what you're doing. You're spewing lies false information, and people are going to take that and run with it that don't know any better. Think about that for a second, folks.
And it was so unnecessary. The confrontation was unnecessary, and it did not have to occur.
I agree, because they asked you guys to leave peacefully. And what happened?
Because once again, we were there to just do our jobs and have an oversight visit of Delaney Hall.
When you think back to that day, do you have any regrets about how it played out?
I mean, absolutely. I wish the whole situation would have never happened. You know, you have members showing up to do a job, to, go in and, inspect this facility. It didn't have to be like this. And I wish it would have never been like this, because they should have just allowed us to come there, have our oversight visit, and go about our business. We didn't have to have any of that. We didn't have to have any tense moments. We didn't have to have
The confrontation and tense moments are created by you. You were the one to escalate this whole situation.
And surely the mayor of the largest city of Newark didn't need to be arrested. And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is not what I think about, when I came to Congress to do my job, that I would be in the middle of, of a tense moment like this to do it. And so, absolutely, I just wish it would have never happened.
So you, when this had initially come out that this indictment was being presented, said that this was political retribution, essentially. Of course, Alina Habba being the acting district attorney overseeing this matter. Can you say a little bit more about what you mean by that? You do believe that this is political?
Absolutely. I mean, when Habba was assigned to be the U.S. acting attorney in New Jersey, she pledged that.
Here we go. Let me ask you a question. There were 3 members of Congress, 1 mayor, and about 100 protesters out that day. Guess what? Only you and the mayor were arrested. And then what happened? Charges against the mayor were dropped. But you wanted your day in court, because this was never about political. This was not about justice. This was about political theater. You're right. This is political. I agree with you completely. Let's be honest. Trespassing is just a slap on the wrist compared to assault, putting your hands on a lawful officer. But we're supposed to pretend that this is just some innocent protest. Come on. Give me a break. You want to do all these things and then cry victim. Doesn't work that way, folks. It doesn't work that way.
She would use the office to, carry out Trump's agenda to, make New Jersey red and all of these other things that she said. And so I think it's a pattern of what we see from this administration over and over again, as they are using the different agencies, under the federal government to weaponizing these agencies against people who disagree with them, critics of them. And at this point,
it's funny you want to mention weaponizing, because I have a perfect clip for you from Ms. McIvor. Let's jump right into that. This is an old clip, but I want you to look at the verbiage and what she's saying and how she's operating. And then you tell me who's weaponizing what.
Will not take this shit from Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
Perfect language for Congresswoman. And while we're on this, can somebody explain this to me? Every time I see Congressman Green, every time I see this guy, he has a walking stick. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but somebody can help me understand this, okay? But I believe the whole purpose of a walking stick is to walk with, right? To give you support and things of that nature. But every time I see Congressman Green, you notice his stick is always in his hands. He's holding his hands. It's never on the ground supporting his weight. And I don't know. Is that what a walking stick is supposed to be used for? But with any further ado, let's jump right back into the weaponized message here.
We want you to know, as mentioned, we came here for an oversight visit in this building behind us, and they told us that we had to have an appointment for an oversight visit.
How dare you tell the government and Congress that they have to have an appointment? Don't you know Congress can walk into any establishment and do whatever they want to do? They have free roam to do whatever. That's what happens when you're a congressman. Come on.
So let's let them know loud and clear to let us in. Let us in. Let us in.
Do you think that's what happened the day when they showed up to the ICE at the Delaney Hall? Folks were probably like, hey, you got to wait or you cannot come in right now. And then this is what happened?
Let us in. that this Jersey girl means business.
Means business until of the law gets a hold of you, and then it's, I'm a victim. This is political. This is political. This has nothing to do with criminal. Right. If you're gonna talk the talk, walk the walk. Be a tough guy all the way through and through. Just don't be tough. And then when something happened, now it's, oh well, it's the sky fault. The sun was too hot. The clouds weren't out, and I didn't have any shade, and oh my God, and no. Stand up. Own up to your own.
We will not stand for this. We will fight back. The people always had the power. And I tell folks, we've been talking about it all day today. Someone told us that Republicans had their phones off the hook so they wouldn't take your calls about what's going on here.
Wait a minute. Aren't you in Congress? Aren't you guys and the Democrats and Republicans in the same building? So don't you have numbers to your constituents, which are Democrats and Republicans? So how come you don't have access to them? Why is it somebody's telling you that the Republicans have their phone off the hook? Can you pick your phone up and call and find out what's going on? Food for thought, folks. Food for thought.
Boom to that. And I tell you that when we leave here, we need to organize and mobilize and tell people to call every elected official of Congress and let them know, especially the...
Well, why do you have to wait till you leave? Aren't you Congress? Aren't you standing right there? Oh, that's right. You want to show up, route up the crowd, give them a bunch of dry air and fry ice, right? And what you do, you just leave. Call Congress. Don't worry about me. We're not. Maxine, Mr. Green, myself, this other gentleman back here, everybody back here. No. We're not Congress. Do not contact us. Call us so that we can then now take our phones off the hook and you'll be on voicemail, just like we're claiming the Republicans are doing. Gotcha.
Republicans, that we will not take this. We will fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and God damn it, shut down the city.
Shut down the city. God dang it. Wow. That sounds like somebody that's trying to bring violence towards the United States. You're now saying to shut down operations. We're at war. Keep in mind. Now, this is what I don't understand. This attitude, right? And when I say attitude, I don't necessarily mean like you have a angry attitude, but the energy that you were bringing in this interview, right? And the energy you had at Delaney Hall. Why is it when CNN and them are interviewing you now, you're like, well, I have to say that, the sky is blue, the wind is blowing 2 degrees due west, and the time now is 1:01 and 55. No. Hey, let's back it up. Where's this energy? That's not you. This is you. Show your energy. Keep your energy. But you see, it's all about persona, how they present themselves to you. So they're going to act, oh my God, it's so, yes, you need to call Congress when we leave. Why? You're Congress and you're standing right there in front of the people. So why should they have to call? You're right there. And like I said, you're working with the Democrats and the Republicans. So therefore, you can always be like, hey, I'm going to have Johnny call you. Okay. Or I'm going to give me your information. I'll pass it on to Johnny. Johnny takes care of this and that area, whatever. You can't do that for the people. But you see, the people that don't know any better are listening to all of this and listen to what you're saying. But think, folks, think. That's why I keep saying stay informed and engaged, right? Stay informed and engaged. There's an old saying, your ignorance to the law is not their job to educate you on the law. Remember that. You have to be smart.
Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and then be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States
So they're at war because they're mad and angry at Musk and Doge because he was just, this was during the time where he was just annihilating all these funds that were basically being wasted, right? So that's what they're mad about here. Thank you. So let's get back to the original program now. So keep in mind, remember the attitude that she had earlier. Look, the energy, forgive me, the energy.
Point Democratic members who are doing their jobs. And so we've seen it play out. This is a part of their agenda, which is, to me, is always based around cruelty. We've seen it over and over and over again. And I think this political intimidation that they're using.
Political intimidation, folks, don't take my word for it. I just showed you a clip. That was her. That was her on the clip. That was her saying all these things. So who's doing political motivation, intimidation and all of this? Who? She's the one standing there saying, shut the city down. We're at war.
On me is, they're using me as an example to try to scare other Democratic members from doing their job.
Once again, I encourage you, if you have not seen the video by now, okay? Including her, there were 3 Congress personnel there, right? There was a mayor. So we have 4 people from, government. And then there was probably about 100 plus people, protesters, whatever you want to call them. Now, I ask you this question. Let's say altogether there was 105 people there. Why is it she and the mayor were the only 2 arrested? Well, charges were put on her. She technically wasn't arrested. The mayor was arrested right there and then for trespassing. She assaulted an officer. Charges were put on her. But keep in mind, the other 2 Congress personnel never got anything put on them. The 100 and something odd people that were there never had any type of charge or were even locked up. Think about that for a second, folks. But it's a political scheme that the other party is trying to pull to intimidate people from, I guess, showing up and acting out and inciting riots and fights and everything like this. Be sharp, folks. Be sharp. Informed and engage. Inform and engage.
Hush people up, critics of theirs. And so we just constantly see this behavior playing out. And so it's definitely political. That is why this case is, so much highlighted throughout the nation right now, because, when have we pointed to a situation like this happening to a sitting Congress member who is just showing up to do her?
And that's a selling point that she's going to try to, she's probably trying to run for a higher office or probably trying to run for presidential candidate, next go around. Because keep in mind, they did reach out to her and ask her to come in and talk so they can discuss it. And she said no. She said, take me to court. So you do something wrong. They try to reach out to mend this and you're like, no, take me to court. And then they take you to court and now it's a political scheme. They're using political tactics. Right.
Her oversight job.
Congresswoman, the Justice Department did drop charges against the mayor, but of course they're pursuing things here. What do you think is the difference?
I honestly don't think it's necessarily a difference. I can't really point to what the difference is. I will say they dropped those charges because they were wrong in the first place.
You see, Ms. Hobbit, if you're listening, I hope you are, or maybe somebody can spread this message to you. From here on out, don't drop charges on these folks. Don't. Because I get it. It's the lesser of the charge, and it will probably cost more money in court time to go through something so minor. But you see what they're doing now? Because you have that ability within your arsenal to drop that charge, which you're doing them a favor. You drop the charge. Now they're saying, oh, y'all did something wrong. That's why you did this. It's not. So, I wish you wouldn't drop charges. Put the charge, let it go through court. Be that as it may. Let it fall where it falls. Just my 2 cents, just dropping it out there.
place. They had no lawful right to go and arrest the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, and they should have never done that. And they did, and they knew they had no case, and they dropped it. And the same thing with my situation, like, that's why I look forward to court.
No, yours is completely different. You assaulted an officer. You put your hands on an officer.
That's why I look forward to the facts coming out in court. The facts are on my side, and I look
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on your side, all right.
forward to telling the entire truth about what happened that day. So I'm really looking forward to court. Like, I mean, literally, if I can get there tomorrow, I would, because I'm looking forward to, the facts being laid out, and any facts are going to be, greater than.
And then when the facts come out, and let's say in the event that you're found guilty, you're going to come back and say, oh, it was a political nightmare. They planned this and they did this. But you're on TV again saying you won this trial. And then when the trial come out and it doesn't go your way, it's going to be another political, what did she say? It was a political stunt. They're trying to fearmonger folks. Come on.
Any headline that they're playing on Fox News at this point.
All right. Before I let you go, Congresswoman, big picture here, obviously immigration policy very much in the spotlight because of what's playing out in Los Angeles. I spoke with one of your House colleagues yesterday. I want to just play a brief version of what she said about what we're seeing, how we're seeing this administration conduct immigration raids. Here's how play a brief version of what she said about what we're seeing, how we're seeing this administration conduct immigration raids. Here's how she characterized it. Watch, I'll play it for you on the other side.
I would argue that this is not an immigration policy that we're seeing unfold. This is domestic terrorism.
And I completely agree with you. Yes, it is domestic terrorism. Because why? Domestic terrorism is when you burn the flag, you shut the freeway down, you damage government property, and you don't want to listen to what the laws have to say. That is domestic terrorism. So therefore, the military, National Guard, law enforcement have to step in now. You can't have this both ways. Again, it's going to be one way or the other. So, but I have another clip here I'm going to show you where, again, these politicians just doing whatever they think they want to do. So without any further ado, let's jump into that one real quick. So this one here is with the Congressman Padilla. And again, folks, just like McIvor, apparently they think that they don't have to obey any type of laws, rules, or procedure or anything like that. Let me ask you guys a question. So you and I are basically regular John Doe citizens. Can we walk into a government building and act the way these folks are acting? And if your answer is yes, I'd like to know why. And if your answer is no, I would like to know why too. Because they have rules and procedure, right? They said the building is open from this time to this time. You need an appointment and you need to bring certain things in or do whatever the case may be. We just can't show up willy-nilly and be like, I demand to be here right now. Technically, we can, right? Because when you think about it, the government buildings are technically public place. We are the public, but there's rules and procedure that we have to abide by. So I don't understand why Congress doesn't get that. And they think they can just do whatever they want to do. But with any further ado, let's jump right into this.
Breaking news right now. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was just wrapping up that news conference in West L.A. Eyewitness News reporter Kevin Ozebek was there. He joins us live with, Kevin, not only more on what the secretary had to say, but that moment where U.S. Senator Alex Padilla was removed from the room. What can you add?
Yeah, well, Mark, that's kind of the moment that stole the show. And if you could see my view right now, there's a whole slew of cameras now lined up outside the federal courthouse. We're essentially going from one press conference to another as we wait for Senator Alex Padilla to come out. Now, you can see that video that was shot by ABC's Ashley Riegel. That kind of was a wow moment at that press conference today. I want to bring in ABC's Matt Rivers. He was actually up in the room. Now,
clearly, you can see he started doing a commotion. You see, everybody's turning around, right? If you were to quietly walk in this room as a regular member or as a spectator, do you think it would get everybody's attention as it just did? So think about it. There's no audio on here right now, but why did everybody just get up and start turning around with their phones and recording out? Why?
First off, Matt, did you even know that the senator was with you guys with the press during this press conference?
No, I mean, it's a federal building, and as a U.S. senator, you would...
Look at that. And he's resisting and keep pushing and struggling. Now, you're supposed to be a congressperson, Is this a way a congressperson should be acting? And then you come back and like, oh, I'm the victim. I'm the victim. You know, come on, guys. You're adults. You're adults. You're not little kids, you know. You can't just throw the first punch and be like, well, Jimmy was calling me names and I didn't like. You can't. You can't. You're adults. You know, there's a famous line in the Bible where Jesus said, when I was a child, I did childish things. But when I became a man, I did the things that men do. Is this how an adult act? Maybe in that party, who knows?
Assume that he'd be able to get access, but no, I think everyone there inside the room was
Look at
very
that.
focused on.
He is
on
pushing
the DHS
back
secretary, what
against
she was
these people
saying.
to go. Like, what do you? Let me ask you something. If you guys were there right now, take out the Kristi Noem from the podium. Let's say you're standing there, you're doing a press conference, whatever, and someone is charging towards. How do you think that would make you feel? Not only how would that make you feel, but imagine the law enforcement that are there. How do you think they're supposed to feel when they're there to protect her and you're barging in, acting the way you're acting? Like, what did you possibly think this outcome was going to be? And I know this is going on a little bit long right now, but he did an interview where he was crying. He literally said, oh, I'm a victim. Again, how are you guys victims? Just like McIvor. You started this. You created this problem, and now you're a victim. That's like me walking around. I guess I'm going to just go kick a beehive. When the bee starts stinging me, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a victim. The bee, they stung me, and they had no reason to. But I kicked the beehive, right? Similarly, again, there's so many other people there. Nobody else do what you're doing, but now that you did this, brought this attention to yourself, now you're a victim.
And then he came in from the side and tried to interrupt that press conference. Well, what I saw from my seat there in the front row was the senator taking a few steps toward the DHS secretary as he was trying to talk about some of the alleged criminals that she had up on the screen there. And as he took a couple of steps toward the secretary, one of the officers that was in the room, I don't know if that was that guy was a part of her protective detail. I don't know if he was just an FBI official that was there. He very quickly moved to intercept the senator. It's unclear if he knew whether that was a senator, from a sitting United States senator or not, but he was clearly reacting on instinct because the senator did take a couple steps toward the secretary. And then what happened next is he identified himself, and even after he identified himself, those officers continued to quite violently shove him out of the room. What I'm sure we're going to hear from them is that this was them reacting to keep the secretary safe. They didn't know who he was. He didn't identify himself, at least very clearly at the beginning of all of this. But even after he identified himself, they shoved him out of the room. They took him out. We could even hear it in the hallway as he was taken out.
And Matt, what we know from our law enforcement sources is they are using the term that he was temporarily detained. Yeah. Did you ever see the senator cuffed at any point?
No, we didn't see him cuffed, but we did see him taken away, so it wouldn't be a huge surprise if they did detain him in some way. And what we did see as we were leaving the building, because we really just walked out a few minutes ago, was we know that the senator was inside a conference room there talking to the DHS secretary. She responded to all the events of this during the press conference, basically saying that Senator Padilla did not reach out to her beforehand, that this is no way to conduct civil discourse. Clearly, this was an attempt by the senator to get public attention. There's no question. He was trying to get a message across. And so how the DHS secretary responds here, what kind of conversations they have right now, I think is left to be seen.
Because she did say at that press conference that she would actually speak to him, and you actually saw that on your way out?
Yeah, so what we did, they were shutting a door, and as I was walking out, I could see the two of them inside that room. So it does appear that they were talking. I didn't hear anything. I only saw a glimpse of it, but it does appear.
All right, so what do you think so far? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And as usual, stay informed and engage until we meet on the next one. But before we leave, let me ask you one last question. Do you think this is a political stunt? Prior to these incidents, nobody knew who McIvor was. Nobody knew who Padilla was. Are they trying to run for a higher office level? And they see an opportunity, so now they put themselves there to expose themselves. Now they're getting publicity. And they're going to cry victimhood. Do you think that there were victims in this situation? please drop your thoughts in the comments. Until we meet again, be safe.